Okay, so now we are special meeting of the Board of Supervisors of Ventura County, October 22nd, 2013. We'll do the roll call, please.
Supervisor Bennett.
Here.
Supervisor
all
Moore.
day.
Here.
Supervisor Long.
Here.
Supervisor Zaragoza.
Here.
And Supervisor Foy.
Here. And then we will move on to our agenda review.
Yes, thank you, Chair. We have one item, item 7, temporary emergency transitional housing. A board letter has been submitted, distributed, and posted to the web. That's it.
Thank you. And we have public comments. I don't. Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to, as the agenda is modified, I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, everybody vote, please. Okay. You have no public comment cards on this? It's item 7 itself. Okay, no public comments. No board comments?
Yeah. A lot of board. No, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
You want to make them now in advance?
Oh, you mean board comment? Oh, we have board comments on this item.
Yeah,
On the item?
on the item. But this is
On
our
the
regular board, this is a special meeting. We'll make comments on the item itself when it comes up. Okay, no board comments. All right, then we'll move to item number 7. Mr. Zimmerman? Thank you for your waiting for this.
Thank you, Chair Foy. Barry Zimmerman, Human Services Agency, members of the board, Mr. Powers. I'm here presenting this item that came up kind of as an emergency basis as we've been working through, and I won't go into a lot of detail on the circumstances of which you may already be aware of a fire occurred in Oxnard in which about 27 families were displaced. About a total of 95 individuals were in that makeup. They've been sheltered with the Red Cross, and the Red Cross is here. Doug's here representing the Red Cross, who has been emergency housing these individuals in Oxnard College for a time period, and now they're at Frank Intermediate School. That emergency housing or shelter is closing, and we've been working with Red Cross as well as our homeless team, which Marissa and Carol are here representing our homeless team in transitioning these individuals into more sustainable long-term housing. Well, as time is approaching to close the emergency shelter, there's a transition period that is needed. And since we just finished up about 6 months ago or so, maybe it was longer than that, time flies, the river project in which we used funds for a temporary basis to transition individuals into kind of a transitional housing, short-term housing, in order to have stable environments to work with the families to find long-term housing. Very successful in the river project, and so we'd like to invoke that same strategy here tonight. Now, the source of the funding is the balance of the funds that were allocated to the river project that we did not need to fully use, and that's what we're identifying at this time here. We do have individuals, if you have questions, we have my cop who's been working with us and helping with the translation and so forth. Margaret's here. Oh, she just stepped out. She's the one with the child there. Late in the afternoon, had to pick up her child in helping us case management these individuals. Carmen Ramirez here from the city of Oxnard to engage the city, as well as we have some individuals that have been impacted that could speak if needed there on the services and the needs that are going on. So that's where we're at. We envision the funds originally in the board letter, we say about 30 days is about the target we shoot to stabilize a family in order to case management them into some long-term housing situations. To date, let me just catch you up. To date, we have about 14 families that have found housing. We have about 7 that are in the balance at this point, and that's very fluid at this time, that it changes depending on the circumstances. These families are large families. One family has 14 members associated with it, so there is a lot of case management to go to how to maybe break up those families depending on the structure and the age of it. We're dealing with about a third of the children are our children, so about 35 children involved in this, and about half of those are under 5. So that's the kind of the context that we're working with right now and making some progress. It's just that we're going through these transition phases of how to best manage the need. So if you have any questions, I'll entertain
All I
those.
got to say is that I appreciate the major effort. I appreciate Red Cross and all the hard work that they put in, and everybody trying to do in a tragic situation. And I think we're all here to do whatever we can to help these hardworking families find some housing right now. And I know
Thank you.
Supervisor Bennett, you had some comments you want to make or something?
Thank you. I certainly share the sentiments. I mean, if we're going to pick somebody to take care of, it's going to be children, families with children, and that's certainly where we should invest. I just want to, so I'm very supportive of this, and I really appreciate staff coming forward with it. The two things I'd like to make sure we do in addition is, I feel like the city of Oxnard should be the major player in this. And I recognize the city council member Carmen Ramirez is here today, and she was kind enough to call today and say she hopes the city of Oxnard can play a greater role in this. But it's the transition. We said the same thing with the people coming out of the river bottom. We said, we don't want to turn this into sort of a permanent setting, and so it's the end game, it's the transition game, and I just want to know what are your thoughts, Barry? What do we have in mind? We're down to 7 families right now. Is that right?
We're down to 7 is where we're targeting right now. Yes.
And do we think that the expenditure of these funds will buy us enough time that those families will be located?
Yeah, we would say, and I'll defer a little bit to Carol, but in working with the team, that 30-day gives us a good horizon to work with them.
Right.
I mean, the issue that we discussed in the whole river project was that we need to have people in a stable environment so we can most effectively work with them.
Right.
And a tremendous amount of work in the shelter has been done, which is difficult. Documents, those
Right.
type things to allow, intervention to happen. And so
Right.
we're still in that phase. So this would be it. Our hope is 30 days would be it. The reason I don't want to put a timetable is that we would hope 7 would enter within the weeks that would trit down.
Right.
And if we happen to have 1 left that needs to carry
Sure.
a little bit further, that's what we would
Right.
anticipate.
Okay, good. Well,
So-
and go ahead.
I was going to say, we're requesting the balance of it, so we're using the balance of the fund, saying that's kind of our cap here. So it gives us a magnitude and the
Right.
longevity that we can have with
Okay,
this.
and then if we will make sure we in particular with Councilmember Ramirez here, who wasn't that informed about all this stuff, if we could reach out to them and try to make sure that they're involved, particularly from a
Absolutely,
financial support of this.
and the community as well.
Sure.
Has been involved, the schools as well as community groups, as well as we have other St. Vincent de Paul.
But we
So
definitely want to keep these children in their same school, and all of that. in
the
terms
goal
of
is for the
moving
ideal,
forward.
and then we have the practical there. We
Great.
do want to keep a safe environment for the children. We don't want situation deteriorate in which another system that I govern would have to intervene, which is not what we want.
Right, and we certainly don't want any child to have to spend a night in a homeless shelter, you know what I mean? Right, as we go forward, so we just have to be committed to that.
That's great. And Supervisor?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just want to share with you that I did contact Carmen. I've been working with the Red Cross since they were at the gym over at Oxnard College and then over at Frank School, working with Jim McKee, and I think he's been very instrumental in helping us out. But Carmen, unfortunately, when I called her, was going to be out of town, but she was, had contact at the city manager's office. And we did have the Oxnard Fire Department. It was the fire marshal really helped us tremendously, and numerous other people, the city, the Mexican consulate, Mike Cobb, your team, the faith-based charities, and all those individuals that were there to help us. In fact, when I was over at Oxnard College, there was a little old guy that came in, a little bit older than I was, just to give $5, just to say, hey, look, I'm going to give $5 for the poor people that lost their homes. But there have been a lot of people that really have been involved. And I want to give Carmen some credit that she, unfortunately, was out of town at the time when this happened. But I do want to thank the Red Cross because they're just phenomenal in what they've done, and also the Oxnard School District, because I got a call from the principal there at Frank School, and she was concerned not only about the homeless individuals, but also about the students, but are they accommodated for, what is it now, 30 days, Barry, something like that?
Not quite that long, but the
Pretty
school
close.
has really invested themselves. 5 of the children go to that school, and so they've really embraced them so they don't have a disruption in their education and keep that going as fluid as possible.
But I also want to share that when I was talking to the individuals, they lost all their documents, their social security cards, their medical cards, their financial papers, their documents, even cash that they had burned right with those homes, so they lost a lot. One of the things that I think we ought to do is look at what can we do in the future to avoid or to help somebody or families like them in case of another catastrophic event. What programs do we have ready, work with the city of Oxnard, and to have affordable homes or shelters or something ready for that event.
Yeah, I think Ms. Powers and I were at that last disaster meeting, and we talked with Red Cross, ahead and talked about that whole issue to get prepared. This is a good example of what we need to do, so we don't have to go through some of these kind of things. So I think that's a good point. So anyway, Ms. Powers?
It just strengthens those relationships. And just to say thank you to all the groups that have been mentioned. You responded quickly and around the clock to help these hardworking families. Thank you.
So I think at the end, just to reiterate what Mr. Bennett said here, is that we want to partner with the city of Oxnard. I mean, it's your people there, but it's all of ours caring. But we want to partner and come alongside, but I know that's your main thing, so
The Mayor
thank
Pro Tem
you.
can carry that message to the city council.
Okay, that's great. Yes,
And I just thank you. Thank you for pulling this together quickly. Mr. Powers and I were at a Red Cross President's Council, and we saw the Red Cross team in action in the command center, and they've done a tremendous job with a significant immediate impact of large numbers of people, and as you said, bury the children. So I think this is a good use of these funds. That's what they were put for, to help folks who are now homeless as a result of a tragic fire. So I think it's very much a good use of the funds. And I know that we do our very best, because we talked about this at the command center, about finding places for them to stay in their same school, but it may not always work, and we'll do everything we can, and your team will do everything you can to, the community, to make that work. But I think it's
Mr.
great.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve it.
we have Carmen
Oh,
as a
Carmen,
speaker.
you want to share?
I think they're going to defer their comments.
Thank you,
Okay,
Carmen.
well, thank you
And
very much,
thank the
Carmen.
folks.
Appreciate it. Then we can make a motion here?
Yes.
I just want to say how delighted I am that we are in a position that, one, we have staff that moves quickly,
That's
that we
right.
have that compassion, and that we also have the $40,000 available, and I can't think of a better use. So I feel really glad that we're able to help.
Good position. Thank you.
Barry, thank you to you and the team. Thank you, the homeless team.
Yeah. Thank you for accommodating. So.
We will adjourn that meeting, special meeting, and we will, yeah, you want to go home? We'll come back to our meeting of this morning.